The sun had all but dipped beyond the western horizon, and the wind sang as it danced through the tall grass and wildflowers that dotted the small island. The sea slopped and sighed against the shore, lapping at sand and shale. Hund ran his fingers across the ivory hilt of his sword, Fenristooth, and its touch was smooth and reassuring. He had used the blade countless times, taking many lives in battle and single combat. It rested snugly in a fleece-lined scabbard belted at his waist, while his second sword, Battlefang, was strapped across his back. The raiders at the camp would think themselves lucky and rich. Having plundered the southern lands of the Picts, they had embarked on a short journey north, passing by the Orkney Isles, before settling on this smaller northern island. They had braved the risks of the Whale Road in their shallow, drafted warship to bring their blades, daring and brutality, to those not strong enough to protect themselves. Their Jarl, or Earl, would allow his men to revel in drink, rape the slaves they had captured, and fill their bellies with stolen meat, before embarking on their journey east to Norway and south to Jutland, the Vik, or wherever it was in Denmark the crew of Vikings made their home. "How many?" said Hund to the captive pressed into the coarse grass of the sandbank beside him.
300 champions,
the man replied gruffly. He spoke Norse with a Danish accent, and his golden bearded face twisted into a rictus of hate as he spat a gobbet of white phlegm at Hund. Sigvarth Trollhands rewarded the captured Dane with a vicious punch to the eye, and the man grunted in pain.
"Tell us how many men are in your camp, or I'll cut your ears off," growled Sigvarth.
"Bastards," the man hissed, and then his eyes went wide and white with pain and terror, as Sigvarth clamped a firm hand over his mouth, slid a bone-handled knife free of its leather sheath at his belt, and sawed the blade through the man's left earlobe. Dark blood pulsed into the Dane's blonde beard, and he bucked and jolted beneath Sigvarth, who sat on top of his back to keep the prisoner's face pressed against the grass. "How many?" Hund asked again.
40 men on the beach, and 6 on board ship," the man said through gritted teeth.
"Who is your Jarl?"
"Jarl Foot Warraven," the man answered.
A smile played at the corners of his mouth, as though Hund should know the name, clearly eager for the one-eyed sea-wolf to cross blades with his Jarl and meet his fate against the greater warrior. Hund nodded and then glanced at Sigvarth, who grinned before he slit the prisoner's throat. They had captured the man as he had taken a long, ale-stinking piss over the dunes. The Danes had sent the man up the beach to stand watch, a duty he'd performed half-heartedly due to the inhospitable nature of the island. It was low, flat, and relentlessly battered by the brutal sea wind. But despite the perceived safety of their remote island camp, the Danish Jarl would fear another man like himself, a wolf of the sea, approaching unlooked for and unseen to take away his spoils. And he was right in that fear, because Hund was such a man, a formidable killer and the leader of the warship Sea Worm and her crew of ruthless warriors.